Okay, now for the final question, question 6. So question 6, you should definitely spend at least 35 minutes on. You should also leave time to plan for this question because it is a longer question. It's worth the most marks in the exam, 24 marks, so you cannot afford to miss out this question. If you are in the last sort of half an hour of the exam and you haven't done this question, just go straight to this question. Even if that means you're halfway through another answer, just leave that and go to this question because you really can't afford to miss out this one. Question 6 will always be an argue or persuade. Either way, you should be using the techniques used in a forest, okay? So as soon as you get to question 6, what I would like you to do before even reading the question, just write down a forest. And you should know and remember that this stands for anecdote, facts, opinions, repetition or rhetorical question, emotive language, statistics, and triples. If in the exam you just need reminding of a few of them, I struggle to remember anecdote. Sometimes I struggle to remember tripling. Okay, so maybe just jot some of those down. But as soon as you turn to this question, write a forest down straight away, and any techniques that you need reminding of. Also, write down punctuation as your reminder that you need to use punctuation. Sentences as a reminder that you need to use a range of sentences. One word ones for effect as well. And some complex sentence starters. So although, despite, because of, okay, and you can use a range of complex sentence starters, okay. Also, obviously, make sure, I've just done it there, but never write outside of this box, okay, because what happens is this gets scanned and none of anything that you write in here will get shown by the examiner. So anything you write in this section outside of the box will not get sent because these get scanned to the examiner. They don't read the papers, okay. So now we can read the question, and it will always be a statement and then a question. If it's a persuade question, they might not do a statement in there. Okay, so it might be a statement with a question or just a question. Okay, so an area which you like and value in your local community is to be used for a building of a new office block. Write a letter to your local council arguing that the building project should not go ahead. So you've got the format of what they need you to write in a letter. You've got the audience, local council, so you know that it's going to be formal, and arguing, obviously, a forest, okay? So in terms of the format, you've got a letter from one of the source materials. So this gives you an idea of how to structure a letter and the ways in which you could structure a letter, okay? So an area that you like and value in your local community. So this could be a local park. You need to make up your mind for what it could be, okay? But again, you need to try and use the source material to your advantage. Now, what you've got here is some really nice facts about why the woodland area is reducing. Okay, our ancient woodland now covers 2% of the UK. So this could be actually used in your argument for your letter. Okay, so perhaps the area that you value in your community is a local woodland, and what the local council are going to do is they're going to knock some of that down to build the office block. Okay, obviously that's all made up, but you need to use what they've given you, and they give you these source material for a reason. Okay, so I might just have a look through the source material, see what I can use. Source 2 matches the most, so I might actually use some of these facts here, like this. 76 woodland areas face being cleared away to make space for new roads. 90 could be damaged. Okay, so we could actually use some of these facts, or because I mentioned earlier, don't copy out whole things, you can sort of adapt them, okay? So you could use them in the same way. You could even use bullet points like this letter is done here. You could use subheadings. So this is all to, the examiner wants you to do well. So they give you examples of what they would like to see in the writing, and you can model your answer based on these. Although you wouldn't use pictures because that's a waste of your time. Okay, they want to see your writing. Okay, now because it is question 6, you definitely need to plan. I would plan about probably 5 paragraphs. The first is obviously going to be introducing, and the last is going to be a summary of all my ideas. And then you need to plan what you're going to talk about for paragraph 2, 3, and 4. Okay, you might just want to leave it there, but if you want to take it further, you might plan the punctuation that you're going to use. Maybe you introduce the things you're going to talk about. So in this letter, I'm going to be arguing the following reasons, colon, and then you write it out. Okay, in paragraph 2, I might use semicolon, brackets, and question mark, so forth and so forth. You also might want to plan a forest. So paragraph 2 is going to be an anecdote. Okay, so if you have time to plan and you would like to plan, it does save you time in the long run, and it does get you more marks in terms of if you have something really clear to talk about for each paragraph, you get marks for your use of paragraphs there, so you've used them appropriately. Yeah, maybe in paragraph 4 I don't do a paragraph at all, but actually I just do bullet points. Okay, you see how this here is a paragraph where it's actually used a semicolon. Maybe you could do that in the same way, and maybe I'll do that in paragraph 4, and I might just say see source 2 there. Okay, now because it's a letter, obviously you need to think about how you're going to open it and close it. Always, if you don't know the person, dear sir, madam, yours faithfully. Okay, so there you go, you've got some example planning there. What I would like you to do now is spend 5 minutes planning your answer, and then spend 30 minutes writing your answer. Things that you need to remember are, most importantly, it needs to make sense. You need to make sure you're using full stops and commas correctly. I often see students using all this crazy, really advanced punctuation really well, use the semicolons really well, brackets really well, but they can't manage to use a comma or full stop correctly. So just make sure that as you're writing, you are being really careful. The examiner would sooner read something that's quality over quantity. Okay, and that's about it really, and just tick off what you're going to be doing. So I'm going to leave you now. Pause this video for 35 minutes, 5 minutes to plan, and pause this video to write your answer. Okay, so by now you should have written a few sides now of your letter. What I would like you to do is, in every single paragraph, I would like you to check, is there a range of punctuation? If you have a paragraph that only uses full stops and commas, that's not really good enough for a band 3. So you may need to think about adding and taking some things away, and that's something you can do in the exam as well. In every paragraph, is there some connectives? That's one thing I didn't mention earlier, is that you do need to use connectives. Okay, so in every paragraph, have I got maybe 1 or 2 of these words? Have I got connectives? Have I got a 1-word sentence in some of the paragraphs for effect? Am I showing that I can use different sentences? Okay, and finally, have I used a forest? And think to yourself, does this sound like an argument? Does this sound convincing? Am I being persuasive? Have I communicated myself well? And also, have I answered the question? Okay, I'm trying to persuade people not to build the project. Has my letter addressed that? But also, have I, obviously you're writing to someone formally, you can't be rude, but you just need to be persuasive. Okay, so reflect on that, see how you've done. If you'd like to do some more practice question 6, go to the writing revision pack. There's some more question 6 as well as an example answer that you could look at. But I would just like to explain that this is the most important question on the exam. It's worth the most marks, so it's worth putting the time and effort in. So really you should spend 35 minutes on this question, and make sure you leave time for this question.